All right, we're back. So Ernie,
Hey,
so so Ernie, talk about the foundation
yeah,
associated with Transcend.
absolutely. I'm actually going to segue. While there was a break, Rob asked me a great question. He said, without these medications, would you be able to function the way you do now? Would you be even 70% of what you're able to do? Because I do have a pretty packed schedule. And I told him no. And the answer to that is no. In fact, it would be less than 50%. And I was telling, Rob, that I have my own battles with PTS and medical issues and things like that.
Mhm.
And, 7, 8 years ago, if I didn't have access to these resources, if I didn't have the funds for these resources, if I didn't know about them, there's a good chance I wouldn't even be here because I
Wow.
wouldn't have the hope and I wouldn't have had the change in my life. I had the very, stereotypical that 30, 40 pounds a game when you get out, you're, miserable, you're cranky, everything's off, everything hurts. And, you start to self-medicate through alcohol or just all sorts of different, the coping mechanisms. And for me personally, being able to have access to that was 100% the reason why I'm here and healthy and able to do that. That led to the foundation because knowing how important those resources are and how powerful and helpful they are, for
Hmm.
somebody to not be able to afford them and need them and know how they can improve the quality of life, that's why we started the foundation. And that's why we focus on firefighters, veterans, first responders, law enforcement, because that's a community segment that needs it more than anyone else. And, it's very powerful when you see not necessarily the veteran, but when you talk to their spouse or their
Hmm.
kids, sorry, try not to get a little goofy on it there, but it really hits home, man. It really does when they say, "Oh, thanks for giving me my dad back." Um, it's different, and makes it more than worth it. So yeah, it's
Mhm. And
Yeah.
that's a really, really powerful testimony because a lot of folks, as you know, Frank, we've talked before that a lot of Americans don't have a military connection. And
No.
for a lot who do, it's their grandfather. It's not even their moms or dad. So there is a cost to freedom. There is a cost to live the way that we live. And the men and women who serve in our military, our firefighters and police officers, these are the first line responders who go through tough things daily. They can see horrific accidents, but they have to respond with gentle, kind professionalism at their next call. And so how do we help them? And while peptides might not be for everybody or this kind of treatment, we have to figure it out. What can we do to make their lives better? If it is something like this kind of treatment, then how do we provide it to those who can't afford it? Because these are not high-paying jobs. Serving in the military is not going to make you rich. But when your nation calls you to fight on its behalf, then when you come back home, we need to make sure that we provide the services and the resources you need and your family needs to get you back to um,
Yeah.
optimized health. I guess
yes,
is the way to put it.
And these are people who are leaders in the community and who people follow. And like my dad was ex NYPD narcotics detective, and I looked up to him, and I would try to emulate things that he did, like working out and stuff like that. So if these things can help people, maybe they can be, the people who are sending positive messages about the changes of taking peptides and going through protocols and getting blood tests and making it a habitual thing, like, like brushing your teeth, because honestly, everybody's goal should be the same, and that's to be better and healthier every day. And who better than the community, the leaders in the military and uh, and law enforcement to kind of set the tone for of how that works and the experience, the positive experiences that they have.
Right.
yeah, great. And again, that's the exact reason for the foundation because, as you said, they are lower paying, which
Hmm.
is tragic, but yeah, I know at least we can in our own little area of the world do something about that with the foundation. Transcend Company funds it mostly. We do take outside donations from time to time, but um, you know, everything that we put into it. All the proceeds always go directly to veteran services or first responder for services. We even pay all the operational overhead of the foundation through the company. So anything
Wow.
that's donated goes right back to the patients. It's about $1,100 a year for a patient to be treated. And we know that when we take a patient on, we're taking them on for life in most cases, because usually it's a mix of a bioidentical hormone and peptide to get the best result in most cases. So, I think we're up to about 70 or 80 patients now on the foundation side, which isn't a lot, but at the end of the day, like I said, when we take them on, we have to have the same considerations like the VA has. Because there's so many people in need, we have to, go through and triage and make sure that we are helping the people in most need to get the best care long term. So
That's amazing. How do people get in touch with the foundation if they want to?
the easiest way to do it, and I appreciate you asking the question, thank you, transcendfoundation.com. Go on there and you're going to see testimonials. You're going to get information about the foundation itself, the services we provide, and then there's an opportunity. You can, click the link, and if you want to donate anything, then, it's there to do that. And again, all those proceeds are right to services.
I'm going to add the link onto my Instagram as well. So
I greatly appreciate that.
yeah,
Thank you.
if you're watching this podcast or whatever and you just see me, go to the link.
Ernie, you were talking about the foundation, and earlier today we talked about a whole lot of activities that while you're trying to help them improve their health and their wellness and their mental health, what projects are you doing or considering working on to bring that social connection together to from the recruiting aspects or from just bringing military folks together? Because we understand each other, and sometimes it's just good to be with somebody who understands what you've been through.
Great question. We're building a new world headquarters, and it's a 60,000 square foot facility here in Auburn Hills, Michigan. We're right between Open University, which is a D1 college, and then Chrysler World Headquarters. So we're in a really nice area. But the facility, it has a training facility, locker room, our corporate offices. It has an area for where we can bring people in and do seminars. So I'm creating an environment for not just the company, but the community. And we can, teach and educate and host events. And the plan is to make it a place where, we can kind of inspire, bring them in and help out.
Right. And Frank, with that part, we wanted to say thank you because you've already volunteered your services to come and provide seminars and
Yes.
and share your knowledge with the military community, firefighters and police officers. You're very kind with your time, and we do know that it means a lot to them because they're getting true battle-tested information as opposed to them making tons of mistakes, and hurting themselves. So we appreciate the advocacy and the continuous support that you give to the military
Thank you.
and those who protect our country.
Well, my pleasure. And look, as you get older in life, we don't call them mistakes. We call them lessons, right?
They are. That's a great way of phrasing it.
So, I don't know how many times I've told my son's going to be 16, like I would tell him, well, you don't want to do what I did. If this is what you want to do. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to kind of share my knowledge and bring friends in the fitness community over and kind of share their knowledge too. Because I think even no matter how old you are, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever it may be, you're never, you can never stop learning something, and you have to put your ego aside, and you can learn something every day. And the more you learn, the more knowledge you have, the better person you can be, the better health you can be. So I think it's important to educate people on, on what practical knowledge and what you've experienced. And I think it just can help. So I'm more than happy to help.
I appreciate you saying a statement that was super important is when you put ego aside
Yeah.
and you focus on what's truly important, then that's really something that's going to be powerful and something that people will pick up on and you can share, or, you're going to open yourself up to knowledge and an experience that's going to help you and you can carry forward. And that's really something in our culture of a company and in the foundation that's kind of deep in our, our values is, not to have that ego. So I'm really happy that you said that.
Yeah, and look, everybody has their own perspective as far as training goes, and I don't think one's better than the other, but I think collectively it all helps in helping putting together your personal program. So, we can't be workout snobs. We can't be egotistical. I think people just tuning in now, you want to learn as much as you possibly can. And like you have Charjo and you have Phil Heath and we'll have top military people in there. And, I think it's great. It's a win-win for everybody,
Yeah.
And Frank, what you just mentioned, the military, as I shared with Ernie, as a veteran myself, I'm really proud of him because, often people talk about the veterans who come back and they're broken. Well, he found himself in a situation that wasn't idealistic, but because of his desire to get better, to take care of his family, he found a way to help his fellow brothers and sisters who serve in the military, created this amazing company that has phenomenal growth. Now he's providing opportunities and employment and hope and inspiration for others. So we always think in America, almost anything is possible. This is an example of when you work hard and you stay focused and dedicated and disciplined, America will help you make your dreams come true.
Greatest country in the world.
You know what I love
Appreciate
about
you, sir.
Ernie? Love about Ernie is that, you won't see him on Instagram putting up a Lamborghini and
That's
a rock and a Rolex.
No.
He's about building an infrastructure and building a community for, to help everybody. And I think that's what's important, better health for everyone, especially his, background in the military, helping military people who are close to him. And like he said, the families and everybody else. I think that's really special. So it's great just to talk to you, Ernie, and be a part of this conversation. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. I think the best lesson I've learned, and I've learned it many times over, especially doing this, selfless service is the best service you can give. Making sure that you're looking out for others. I think, in humanity's society, that is something that's been lost in generations, and hopefully we can start to attribute that and mentor our younger generations. But it's very rewarding. So I've always liked to be able to do that, to put other things aside and to make sure that we're providing a service, providing something of value. And at the end of the day, that's why I get up in the morning. It does something. It's more than a company or a money or a community. It's a movement to make something better in the world. When we leave this place, you can't take it with you, so you should leave it better than you found it.
Well, that is incredible, and I think that's a good note to end on, right?
Yeah, I think so. And
Let's call it
I think
part two.
in closing this, everybody out there, look for Transcend. We'll be at the Olympia. We'll be at some of the major competitions, but we plan to put ourselves through the military community, firefighters, again, and the law enforcement. So look for us. We plan to be there to be supportive, to provide hope and inspiration. And thanks to all those who serve. Thanks to all those who support them, and especially those families, because without your service and without your sacrifice, what we do would not be possible. So thank you. And again, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Muscle and Fitness, Dan Solomon, Jake Woods, for their continued support in what we do.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, my pleasure.
All right, thanks, guys.